Saraswati, the goddess of learning, Dr. Srila Vyasadeva, the author, Nashtapareshu Vadreshu, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavata Uttama Shloke, Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki, by regular things and classes on the Srimad Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, God, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timadam Dasya Jnanam Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes. The torchlight of knowledge, I offer my respectful obeisance unto him, Srila Prabhupada. Different way of doing it. Whose script is this? I think it's Envy's. Envy, this yours? We'll take it. Okay, today we're looking at Canto 9, Chapter 8, the sons of Sagar meet Lord Kapila Dev. And what shlokas are we looking at today? 14 to 23.
Yes. And then Narasimha.
Concentrating on what?
23.
Okay, 14 to 23. Okay, let's get the verses down. 1, 2, 3, go. Among the sons of Sagar Maharaj was one named Aswamas, who was born from the king's second wife, Kishini. Sons of Asamanujas was known as Anshuman, and he was always engaged in working for the good of Sagar Maharaj, his grandfather. Formerly in his previous birth, Asamanjasa had been a great mystic yogi, but by bad association, he had fallen from his exalted position. In this life, he was born in a royal family, and it was a Jati Smara. That is, he had the special advantage of being able to remember his past birth. Nonetheless, he wanted to display himself as a miscreant, and therefore he would do things that were abominable in the eyes of the public and unfavorable to his relatives. He wouldn't burst boys sporting in the river Sarayu by throwing them into the depths of the water. Because Asamanjasa engaged in such abominable activities, his father gave up affection for him and had him exiled. Then Asamanjasa exhibited his mystic power by reviving the boys and showing them to the king and their parents. After this, Asamanjasa left Ayodhya. O King Parikshit, when all the inhabitants of Ayodhya saw that their boys had come back to life, they were astounded, and King Sagara greatly lamented the absence of his son. Thereafter, Anshuman, the grandson of Sagar, was ordered by the king to search for the horse. Following the same path traversed by his uncles, Anshuman gradually reached the stack of ashes and found the horses nearby. The great Anshuman saw the sage named Kapila, the saint who was an incarnation of Vishnu, sitting there by the horse. Anshuman offered him respectful obeisances, followed his hands, and offered him and said, "My Lord, even Lord Brahma is today unable to understand your position, which is far beyond himself, either by meditation or by mental speculation. So what to speak of others like us, who have been created by Brahma in various forms as demigods, animals, human beings, birds, and beasts? We are completely in ignorance. Therefore, how can we know you, who are the transcendents?" Yes? Pardon me? Two more. That's what I thought. I was just wondering why everyone stopped. You're my Lord. You're fully situated in everyone's heart, but living and discovered by the material body cannot see you, for they are influenced by the external energy, conducted by the three modes of material nature. Their intelligence being covered by sattva-gun, rajagun, tamagun. They can only see the actions and reactions of these three modes of material nature. Because of the actions and reactions of the mode of ignorance, whether living entities are awake or sleeping, they can see only the workings of material nature. They cannot see your lordship. O my Lord, so three modes of material nature, sages, such as the four Kumaras, Sanaka, Sanandan, and Sanatan, are able to think of you, who are concentrated knowledge. But how can an ignorant person like me think of you? Okay, that's it. Twang twang aham jnana gyanam swabhava pradvasta maya gunabheda mohai Sanannadhyayar munibhir vabhavyang Katang vimudha paribhavayami
Tam tvam aham jnana ghanam svabhava
Tam tvam aham jnana ghanam svabhava
Pradvastamaya gunabheda mohai
Sanandanadye munibhibhavyam
Sananadhyayar munibhir vabhavyam
Katham vimuda paribhavayami
Katham vimuda paribhavayami
Tam tvam aham jnanagraham
Tam tam tvamaham jnanam swabhava Pradvastamaya gunabheda mohai. Go ahead. Boost, Mr. Booster.
Sanandanadaya munibhibhavyam
Sananadhyaya munibhir vibhavyam
Katham vimuda paribhavayami
Katham vimuda paribhavayami
Tam tvam aham jnanam svabhava
Tam tvam aham jnanam swabhava Pradvastamaya gunabheda mohai Sananadhyayar munibhir vibhavyam Katham vimudha paribhavayami
Tvam tvam aham jnana ghanam svabhava
Tam tvam
aham
Ganam Swabhava
Pradvasamaya gunaveda more.
Pradvasamaya gunaveda more.
Gir Gunibir Vibhavyam Katam Vimuda Paribhavayam Tam, that personality. Twam, unto you. Aham, I. Ganam, your lordship, who are concentrated knowledge. Swabhava, by spiritual nature. Pradvasta, free from contamination. Maya guna, caused by the three modes of material nature. Vedamamahai, by exhibition of the bewilderment of differentiation. Sanandana Adyahai, by such personalities as the four Kumaras. Sanat Kumara, Sanaka, Sanandana, and Sanatana, Muni Bihi, by such great sages, Vibhavyam, worshipable, Katam, how, Vimudaha, being fooled by the material nature, Paribhavayami, can I think of you? Translation, oh my Lord, sages free from the influence both of material nature, sages such as the four Kumaras, Sadat, Sanaka, Sanandam, and Sanatan, are able to think of you, who are the concentrated knowledge. But how can an ignorant person like me think of you? Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The word Swabhava refers to one's own spiritual nature or original constitutional position. When situated in this original position, the living entity is unaffected by the modes of material. Sagunan samitityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. That's from chapter 14, text 26 from Bhagavad Gita. As soon as one is freed from the influence of the modes of material nature, he's situated on the Brahman platform. Vivid examples of personalities thus situated are the Kumaras and Narada. Such authorities can by nature understand the position of the Supreme Personality of God, but a conditioned soul, not freed from the influence of material nature, is unable to realize the Supreme. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 45, therefore Krishna advises Arjuna, Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nishtraigunya Bhavarajana. One must rise above the influence of the modes of material nature. One who stays within the influence of the three modes of material nature is unable to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jai Hare Krishna. Okay, Bruce, the sons of Sagara meet Lord Kapila Dev. You heard some of the details. We're reading about it. So just to take the theme of today's verse, freedom. People fight for freedom. It's a worthy cause. And real freedom means to not have the appetites that generally go along with conditioned souls. But they really couldn't care less. They have developed an attitude of aloofness. Many of you may have that understanding that, okay, my program is sense gratification. But whenever I try, it just ain't working out, eh? Just isn't. Because I've tried, and I tried, and I tried, and I tried. I can't get no. Saddest, Rolling Stones, 1960 something or other, 77, I think. I remember Sachinandan Maharaj, he was giving a seminar on chanting, japa. And after he did so many rounds, he was confessing. And after that, I just wanted to have a little change. And I was just thinking about Mick Jagger's song, I can't get no satisfaction. Okay, now the satisfaction it comes when you put your anchors down, when you plant your roots in there. You really make a strong effort when you dig. It's like there's somebody's giving you a massage. You can do a massage like this. But, Prabhupada, the way you want to dig. The same thing with chapati dough. What does you just put it together? Flour, water, maybe a little salt, black salt, whatever. And then you have to really put your muscles into it. Elbow grease, that's the idea, to make it work. There's mention, there's a few numbers here. 3 modes of material nature, you know them all. Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamagun. So Sattvagun means what? Goodness. I like to use the word restless, thoughtfulness. Good. What is the next one? Rajagun, that is restlessness. Okay. And then finally, Tamagun is ignorance, darkness. Okay. The people like the Kumars, they actually they climbed out of this. One of my godbrothers, Sukabak, he's originally from Scarborough. He's a scholar. He became a student of Professor O'Connell, took Sanskrit, all stuff, and then eventually he just delved into his hereditary roots, which was Vaishnavism. And it was hard actually, while he was trying to search, it was hard for him to find a Chaitanya Charitamrita or the Bhagavatam. They had gone into oblivion almost. But he was curious, he wanted to know. The point is, some people, they start from here and they go up there. It doesn't matter if you come from a background. It's where you end up that's really important. That's what really counts. That you've made some achievements, you've hit some targets. Your concentrated knowledge. Yeah, I like that phrase. Who are concentrated knowledge? Somebody like Kapila Dev, he's concentrated knowledge. But how can an ignorant person like me think of you is the address. That's true. Queen Kunti, she says, many scholars have tried to understand you, my Lord, but I'm just a simple woman. How can I get to that level? How can I get to comprehension? And so everyone has a chance, by the way. Chapter 9 from Bhagavad Gita. Does anybody know the verse? Okay, if you don't, then Manghi Parta Vyaphasaritya Yepi Syu Papayonaya Striyo Vaishyus Tata Shudras Tepi Yandi Parangatim. Everyone can reach the supreme destination. Everyone has a chance. Any man, any woman, whether you're a Brahminical scholarly person, or whether you're just kind of like a very simple person, everyone has a chance to get there. This is also Krishna's mercy. It's one of those verses that are very hopeful. Like yesterday we studied with the devotees for South Africa, and we were looking at from chapter 2. Nahavikramanashasti pratyavayo nividyate swalpamapyapasha dharamasha trayate mahatomayat. Does anybody know what that means? Okay. anyone who makes an endeavor on this path, it makes a little endeavor. There's no loss. There's no diminution. So anybody who takes it seriously, they can go beyond. They can reach transcendence, and they protect themselves from fear. Fear is, let's say, obliterated. Fear. What is fear? How would you describe fear? How can you define it? I know how you can dramatize it. What really are we looking at here? What is fear?
Scale of a certain uncertainty.
Yeah, there's uncertainty and fear. Let's say the dealing with the unknown. You don't know what's around the corner. Of course, some people like that. I want to be in fear. I want to see a thriller. I'll see The Exorcist. The devotees, we used to line up at the movie house on Bloor Street when The Exorcist was on. It was about psychic phenomena. It was a thriller. I didn't even know what it was. We were on the lines, myself and Kamsant, trying to distribute books to those people. And it went all the way around the block. That's how popular the movie was, day after day after day. It's still a classic. But anything that excites people is a good thing, right? Gets them inspired to look beyond what meets the naked eye. That's really what we were encouraged to do. Yeah, so anybody is eligible. It just takes the right attitude. Attitude has platitude. And really, the best attitude is gratitude. You've heard that before, right? If you are thankful for what has come your way, or you are just feeling that gratitude, then there's so many great possibilities that can be happening for you. That's a real candidate. Somebody who can really advance is somebody who's grateful for what's there. Now, in a capitalistic society, a lot of people, they have a lot of stuff. Kids have their toys. They've got lots of toys, a whole room full of toys in some cases. So now they've experienced everything, even in adulthood. But they've got everything. What profited the man when he gains the whole world, but has lost the soul, right? That's a biblical saying, which is really perfect. Let's say if you have a mansion, several mansions. One of our famous singers from the 60s was Gordon Lightfoot. He's originally from Aurelia, and he bought a house in Rosedale. You can go there. I'll take you there one day. And it's a famous house overlooking the ravine. But from there he graduated and went to Bridal Trail or whatever, just up from the road where Drake lives. You know Drake? Okay. And it's like a $14 million mansion that he got. He got all these royalties from his music. $14 million. And I read about this some time ago, and it never made him happy. He wasn't happy with that. He was probably better off with the more simple Rosedale. He used to go and buy his jeans at Eaton's, and one of our devotees, Sevya Sachin, would sell jeans to him all the time. Famous guy, you could look him up. He had a great talent. My God, he was good. But even him, many people like him. They have a lot, but it's just too much of a headache to maintain. You could show it off. Look, take them to the different rooms and people will go, be in awe. But that's all it is, it's nothing more. It's not, you can be in awe, but it's not awesome, in the term as we use. Well, what's the famous word that people use? They used to say sick. That's sick, which means it was slick. Oh yeah, they used to say, that's thought. That's thought. I think that was in the 90s, or, it's this thought, man. Thought, not fat, but thought. I mean, that's cool. That's cool. I think the beatnik generation, they came with that cool, man. Everything's cool. Wearing sunglasses, cool. And that's kind of stuck with people for a long time. I'm cool, you're cool, he's cool. But everyone's really, let's say, eligible. That's really the point. And I think that needs to be highlighted. And it doesn't matter what is your background, You may have done a lot of sins, in your past, but you can be absolved of all of these things. Absolved of bad doings, it's possible. It's just a question of having the right attitude. That's all it really takes. Now, the three modes of material nature have been addressed here. We know that there is a discipline here through the disciplic succession. They're bringing up the same kind of language, same philosophy, same three modes of material nature. They seem to be an ingredient towards suffering in this world. And it's all throughout the Gita, the Triguna. And that's why we should study them. Now, what makes a marked difference between Krishna consciousness and other religions? They don't discuss the three gunas. You really have to look at them, and they each have their own kind of flavor and influence. Like in the mode of thoughtfulness, sattva gun, how does it affect an individual? I'll put the question to you. How does it affect you? Yeah.
It puts you in a better position to understand God, to understand yourself.
Yeah, it enhances understanding, for sure. Anything else? Anybody else? What's so good about goodness? Well, let's say clear mind, peacefulness, feeling a sense of security, that kind of stuff. Good. What about Rajagun? What does Rajagun do for people? Yes.
Restlessness.
And what does that convert to? Restlessness or passion? What does it convert to? Yeah, sure it can. Yep. Lust turns into that.
Also drive to achieve something.
Right. In a more positive way. That presents a kind of inner drive to get things done, to accomplish things. Like this building, it was done with devotion and passion, It's a place of worship. And even having babies, requires a drive behind it. And, for a lot of people, it's a great milestone to have a baby, or two, or three, or four, or five. I met one devotee there in Montreal, and I hadn't seen him for a while. Said, Maharaj, he says to me, Maharaj, I'm having my fifth baby. 5! You don't get that too often, right? But to accomplish some good things, there's passion is required. To build buildings, to build dams, bridges, all those things, Passion for, just sewing clothes, coming up with, unique wardrobe or whatever. It all requires passion, so it's good. It just has to be directed properly, and then it's okay. Most people use passion in a self-centered way, and therefore it's a negative, let's say, it's a negative mode. Then you've got mode of ignorance, which can be represented by people who are sleeping or lazy. Sometimes you need downtime, that's okay, but don't take too much of it. That's the point, don't take too much. We want to maximize on the goodness, because what is our goal after all? What are we trying to achieve in Krishna consciousness? What is it?
Unconditional love for Krishna.
Yeah, we want to achieve love for the Lord. And then that also means that we'll go back home, back to hand. Yeah, that's right. There's a desire to, to go to a place which you can truly call home, where people chant Om. That is home. By the way, we do chant Om, don't we? Nama Om Vishnupadaya. What about here? Om Ajnanatam Marandasya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yeah, so Om is part of our life. If we talk like, this back in 1973, for instance, says, oh, you're like a Mayavadi, because you're kind of qualifying Om. Honestly, it would be like that. We have interesting, notions about things, You wouldn't be caught dead walking in the park without a partner. Because if you went in the park, even if you got your beads with you, they consider that person's in Maya. Oh yeah, it was like that. Once I went in the airline flight, I think it was Air Canada, and one of the airline stewardesses came to me and she said, "Are you okay for being served by a woman?" And I said, "Yes," because some people, members of SWAMI Narayan, two men, and they always travel together, they wouldn't be served by women. So, that's, they'll get contaminated. I'm just making a joke. It's amazing how people come to these conclusions. There was some time ago when devotees were complaining, some of the brahmacharis were complaining, the women are in the temple room, they're chanting japa while we're chanting japa, we're getting very distracted. You know what Prabhupada's line was? Tell the brahmacharis to go to the forest. If they can't handle a little bit of, their sisters being there. Well, actually, great formula behind the Bhakti Academy is that we have men and women, right? And we have a wing for the men and a wing for the women. Right? Yeah, and that we attract each other. You know what's good about the program? It's appealing in the fact that it has a family draw, feeling of family. When I joined the movement, it was like that, very much a family feel. It was great. People of different ages, there were some little babies coming along. I remember one boy, his name was Ganga. He was 5 years old, he was climbing the walls. Yeah, that's an expression. But this drive kicks in. And with the mode of goodness, you should see the difference between man and woman, although we are spirit souls. And you generally don't get into, let's say, familiar talk. You don't get too casual. What we heard, Prabhupada said, you can talk, but just keep it limited. Pass the salt, please. In the Toronto temple now, you say, pass the black salt, please. Right? So that you don't have to talk about it to anybody. It's not. Of course, we have to do situations where it might be necessary if you have a portfolio as an administrator, where you may have to, talk to some of the Matajis and so on like that. One has to be careful. That's all. Be careful. We don't do that enough. We're not paying attention to that. Care. Beware. Make sure you care. Many devotees have been talking about this care issue. Yeah, so when you really care about your spiritual life, you'll become a bhakti yogi. You will. But if you're not careful enough, you may, float around in the Brahmajyoti for some time. Or you may be, as a yogi, do some silent meditation and all. That's also good, but you won't understand the Supreme Lord completely. Because for that you need Brahmeti Paramatmiti Bhagavan iti Shabdyate. There is the Brahman aspect of God, there is the Paramatma aspect of God, and there is the Bhagavan aspect of God. All of them are there. And to know all of these is like going through these different layers is what the Kumaras went through, and Narada Muni, Shukadeva Swami. There's other examples. They went through these various layers. How many of you have felt that God is maybe not a person, but maybe God is light? Truman Capote wrote a novel about the razor's edge. One American guy who was very wealthy, he decided, I've got to go to India. Firstly, we went to Wales, and he was in the mining. Was mining, get down to getting all that soot on you. Then, one day he met a priest, and the priest, I think, was drinking a little bit. Says, "Oh, so you really want to go where you can go deep in life? You have to go to India." So then this fellow went to India, this tycoon, billionaire type guy, and he met with a guru type person, and then he started to see the light. That's the reference is given, the light. How did he demonstrate that he had seen the light? Oh, he could do magic. This is not really a place to qualify yourself, just because I could do some magic. We were at, I think we mentioned Houdini. He was a magic, he's an illusionist. He was originally from Poland, I believe. And in the 19th century, he was well known. And he could do just incredible things because he was so austere. So one day he was in the Queen Elizabeth Hotel, it's still there in downtown Montreal. And one guy came, and he was very tall, red hair guy, and he punched him in the stomach. Houdini could do something like, you could punch as hard as you can and he wouldn't feel it. But this time he was not ready for it. And one guy came in, I guess he kind of ran away, and within minutes Houdini was gone. So what is the worth of all your magic if you can't get out of this material world? That's really the thing. Prabhupada was a magician in that regard. He waved his magic wand, I don't know, what's the magic wand sound like? Something like that. And who did that? Was that you? That's okay, I accept. It was great. And he changed us. The idea is about transformation. That's really what the verse is all about. We want to transform. Not that we don't like ourselves, you have to love yourselves, isn't it? And if you love yourself, you do the best for yourself. So it means we have to go for transformation. We have to go for change. I'm not talking about this kind of change, but that flip a coin, not that kind of change. I'm talking about something much more serious. Yes, okay. Questions?
When you say you love yourself, does that mean love your body or
Love your soul.
just like engaging in Krishna's service? That's the one way you love yourself.
Yeah, sure. That's nurturing the soul, isn't it? We can also look at things like chanting Krishna's name, doing service. All of this makes your creeper grow, right? We talk about Bhakti Lata Bij. Bij means seed, Lata, plant. And our spiritual development is compared to a plant that grows, and it grows and grows. If you keep doing your sadhana nicely, it'll grow so much it'll bypass the 3 modes of material nature, or even the 5 elements, 8 elements actually. Bhumir apanalovayu. And finally you'll end up in the spiritual sky, and you'll bypass some of the planets there. Finally you get to Krishna Loka, and your plant will, just like ivy does, Have you ever seen people with ivy? They start, and it's wrapped all around the ceiling. It can go forever and ever. So your Bhakti Lata, your devotional plant, can indeed, excel. It can grow until it reaches Krishna's lotus feet. So it is possible to make change, go for transformation. Okay, any things? Yeah.
Thank you for the class, Maharaj. The effort, the endeavor is related with the idea to try to reach the point where we are 24 hours engaged in service.
The efforts for...
The effort that is mentioned is related with this idea that
Yes.
we should try to
Yes.
to reach that point where we are 24 hours.
Yes.
Engaged in
Oh,
service.
yes. Samadhi. We're in a kind of samadhi, right? That's the verse we've been looking at, isn't it? Nityananda. The verse is from chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita. Samadhi, that's the topic. Samadhi is when there's uninterrupted focus. You know, when you're entrenched in Krishna's service. That is samadhi. There's no hiccups, no interruptions whatsoever. No distractions. That's when a person can really transition or transform. Anything else, Bruce? Yes.
You were talking about self-love, that you have to love yourself to do
Yeah.
best for you. How can we encourage persons with low self-esteem to love themselves? Because they've never experienced love from outside, like they were never loved. That's
Yeah.
what they feel, and
I think you can show them through demonstration how to love. You know, spend some time with them, encourage them, hug them, serve them prasadam, you know, share the wisdom. They'll appreciate it so much. Give some time. That's really the problem with modern existence is that not enough time is given to people. Even our dear Dakshin, you know, I notice he's so much happier now because somebody's coming around to give him some attention. Otherwise, for older folks, it's very devastating. You know, you did so much, you were so busy, and then now you're in a box or a room, and no one comes to talk to you. Yeah. So, as far as destination goes, if you're a Mayavad, then that's probably where you will end up going, in the Brahmajyoti, where it can be very lonely up there. Anything else? I think we can then call her a day. Yeah.
related with the service, when we are in, let's say, setting up the room for the program or the service that we do, but we are not conscious that the ultimate goal, the ultimate objective, we are not conscious that
We're not
we are doing
attentive.
for Krishna.
Yeah.
That service is still transcendental or is like inside?
It is a service, but when your concentration is full, the samadhi, then it's Krishna favors that. You know, I mean, we may have many desires or interruptions, but you know, it's just time is on your side. Let's put it like that. Krishna's time I am, he says. So give yourselves the time to get beyond that. But it will come. It should come. It's going to take a lifetime for some of us. You know, sometimes the passions are very strong, even for devotees, you know, leadership, you know, getting recognition, profit distinction, adoration. They can even help in work in or act out that way in devotional settings, get competitive or something. Who's going to distribute the most books? Prabhupada channeled the competitive nature in that way. Which temple will distribute it? Will it be the UK, London? Or will it be New York? Or will it be LA? You know, they were all kind of like playing that role of being a little competitive. We got to outdo those guys. You know, it's kind of like a little bit like that. Just dovetail the passions. Okay, I guess we can call her a date. 8. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Vipasanabhyavacha, Patitanabhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. Jai. Okay, and this goes back up there.